All right, so we're working on this 8163B because I hit the key and it's got nothing happening. I thought it was a bad connection on the battery, so I took this wire off and cleaned it, and we still got nothing. So I'm gonna use the voltmeter and trace some wires and see if we can figure this out. All right, guys, so here's the deal. We got 12 volts going to the key switch. So your key switch should have 12 volts power going into it, then 12 volts going out when you put it to the start side. We got 12 volts in and out. If I go to the solenoid itself and I touch the prong where the key switch feeds it, I got 12 volts there, but I have no output. I think I have no ground to the solenoid base. Let's check it out. Here's what we got. We got a continuity tester up here on negative. I'm hitting this bolt here, which is the mounting of the solenoid. I got no ground. And if I touch the solenoid itself, no continuity. So if, see, it should have continuity to ground. So we have a bad ground somewhere. But if I come up here to the front of the tractor, where like the shiny bolt is on the steering, do I have any continuity there? No. So I wonder if I have a bad ground to the frame. So let's check that out and see what we got. So if I follow this black wire down to the frame here, let's see where it is. Let's see. So here's our ground wire where it comes down and attaches to the frame. It's covered with a bunch of oily, dirty junk there. Let's see. We'll test that for continuity. As a side note, I hook up my jump box to the starter. The tractor will start right up and run perfect because the Briggs doesn't need any electricity from the tractor to run the motor. So that's cool. All right, let's check out if we got continuity to ground here. All right, we got continuity. Hit them together. All right, now put the black on here. Now try holding the red down here on this nut. That has continuity to the top. Can you get in underneath it at all? Yeah, let's take that off and clean this. I bet that's our problem. Let's see, these things are a pain in the butt because underneath here you usually have a nut that's like underneath the frame. So it becomes very challenging to get this off. Yeah, see the nut's turning. Yeah, I'm gonna have to somehow get a wrench underneath here. I don't know if I can reach up under the frame to do that. Be back in a minute. This is a pain in the butt. My arm's down under here. All the steering and the rock shaft for the hydraulics is right here. It's all in the way of that nut. I got like a deep socket and a 3-inch extension on my ratchet, and I got it on the bottom of the nut. So I'm gonna use a wrench on the top here and see if I can get it off. I don't know how I'm gonna get it back together, but we're gonna get it apart. All right, let's see, I got the bolt out. You wanna lift it up for me, bud, to take that bolt out, and let's see what we got. Here, move the cable out of the way. Let's look at the bottom of the cable. You flip it up so we see the bottom. Dude, you think you could get a connection in there? What do you think?
No.
I think we're gonna have to clean this, huh? Holy cow, there's no connection there. This thing's all full of rust. That's gotta be our problem. So let's clean this up a little bit and see if we can fire it back up. All right, we're gonna use our little welding brush and try to clean this up a little bit. First, we're gonna clean up that area around the hole. And you see how there's no paint right there. That should help us out. Yeah, just get all that dirt off there too. That's a good idea. And then we'll get some brake clean and spray it down and make it kind of officially nice. Yeah, get over here. Yeah, now we gotta get that metal. Yeah, we're gonna get down here. Don't get my thumb though.
Why does it hurt?
Yeah. All right, let's see if we can clean this up a little bit. All right, we'll clean this up and we'll check it out. We cleaned it up with the brush. I gave it a little squirt of brake cleaner. It's fairly good now. This is a nice cable here. So I'm gonna put a new bolt in there. We'll bolt her down and we'll see what we got. So we have a little problem. I cannot get in there to put the nut on the back of that. Like I said before, here, all the steering gears, the rock shaft. The only way to get this in there is to take the gas tank out and reach your hand in over here to get that nut on there. I got lucky and I was able to use this long extension to get the old nut out. Unless there's some miraculous way that I can fish a new nut up there with this extension, I'll give it a shot, but I don't have a lot of hope. That's what I did. I stuffed the old bolt and 3 nuts in this socket, and there's just enough room for me to get this lock washer in there. Maybe I can fish this up there with my left hand and turn that bolt with my right hand and get it started. We'll see what happens. All right, I'm gonna try to use this magnet to do it. I'm trying not to take the gas tank out because it's a lot of work. All right, I couldn't get that to work. I just loosened the gas tank and raised it up. It literally took about 2 seconds to do that. Should have done that in the first place. Some goodies down here, acorns, dirt, nuts. Anyways, let's see if I can finally reach my hand in there to get this stupid nut on there. Not really, there's still crap in the way. What the heck is down there? See if I can show you guys. See all that junk in there? It's like a hydraulic line. All that crap is right where your hand has to go. All right, keep trying. Right, finally, a half hour later, I got my hand under here, bending the hydraulic line out of the way. I use this little hex key here to shove down through the hole, and I basically got the washer and the nut on top of that like it was an alignment punch, and then drop this in. So let me tighten it up. It's finally tight. All right, hit the key, see if it works. No? Seriously? Are you serious? Let me see. Yep, she's dead, Jim. See, let's test this some more. Let's get our continuity going here and our voltage. Let's see. This is so dumb. I'm so done with this stupid tractor. Here, hold this on a positive for me. Let's see, we got 12 volts here now. I just saw it. Here, put that on the shiny spot on the side.
Wait, hold on.
Got 12 volts to the ground? We do. We have 12 volts to this ground. Let's find the bolt on the frame. That's a bad bolt. It's all rusty. Let me try this one down here on the steering.
Wait, hold on.
12 there. Let's try the steering bolt. We got 12 on the steering knuckle. Now let me come to the other side and check on the solenoid. Now, let's see. Do we got 12 down here to the solenoid mount? We have 4.5. Up to the base of the solenoid, like on the metal on it. Got 5 volts. So somewhere we got a bad ground going to the solenoid. We have 5 volts down here, so we're losing voltage to the solenoid. It's all loose. What the heck? Why is it loose? There should be 2 bolts holding it in. There's only 1. There's something screwed here. That's not cool. Let me investigate that. I took the 2 bolts off to hold the seat on. If I remember right, there's like a spacer in here that we don't want to lose. So we got to lift that off to get this plate off to get to the solenoid. So I got the shift plate off. I just had to lift this up a little bit and we could take it out. So this is the gas line here. It's jammed between the stupid solenoid and the frame. And it's all hard. I don't like that. I'm gonna move that, I think. So the question is, why is the solenoid held on by so loose here? But that's got to be our problem. I need to unhook the negative from the battery before I start wrenching on the solenoid with hot wires right next to the frame. So let me do that. All right, so this got the battery unhooked. Look how loose this thing is. Like I said, we got this stupid gas line right here. I don't like that. It's literally like pinched between the hot wire and the frame. I'm not sure if I can just pull it a little bit and get it out of the way. There we go. That's a little better. And over here, I don't know if you can see it, but they use these little speed clips to attach the solenoid to the frame instead of a nut. So our top bolt here fell out. Our bottom one's almost totally loose. So let me go get quarter 20 bolt for the top, and we'll try to re-secure this thing and see if that gets us 12 volts to our solenoid. All right, so here's what I determined. Both speed clips are stripped. So you start to tighten the bolt, gets tight for a second, and then it goes loose. But I got it on there, so it's pretty secure. So let me see what happens if I hook up this negative again, if we are going to be in a better spot now. Yup, that's the problem, huh? Yep, got her fixed, guys. Cool. Man, what a lot of work just for two stupid bolts that were loose. Well, the negative cable was definitely a problem anyway, so I'm glad that we addressed that. I'm not going to put all this back together yet because I want to fix the screwed up throttle cable as long as we got the hood off. And if you look under here at the actual throttle where the cable mounts here, the thing is bent like 90 degrees. It shouldn't be like that. See this part here? That should be coming straight down, not at a freaking 90-degree angle. So let me get a pair of pliers and just try to bend that down, and we'll see if we can fix it. All right, I don't know if I'm going to get this on the camera or not, but I'm going to starting to get dark out. But let's see if we can get this fixed. How the heck did that happen? There we go. That's better. Now let's see if that allows us to move our throttle. Hey, what do you know? I think we fixed it, guys. I think we fixed it. Yeah, we definitely did. It needs to be bent just a little bit more here. Famous last words, that's when you really break it, when you're like, yep, it just needs to be bent a little bit more, then it snaps off, right? All right, I think we fixed it. So, yeah. Now, ever hear of the hood police? See how loose that dashboard is without the hood on there? That's why there's hood police, because this thing's moving, then what's happening is down in here where the steering gears connect is messing up that angle, and it's going to wear out those gears. This has a rack and pinion, so it's not that bad, but the old ones with the steering box, it's a really crucial thing. So yeah, this is really great, because the whole time I was plowing snow all winter, I could never get it in full throttle. Oh, I don't have the negative hooked up. Hold on. Let me hook that back up. Let's see if we can fire it up and test it. Dude, I got all these bolts and all this crap on the running boards. It's all rattling and falling off, but I do believe we fixed that too. So before I put this all back together, it's getting dark now, but I want to clean in here, maybe take a hose and hose all the dirt out from in the frame before I put the hood on tomorrow. So for tonight, I'm just gonna drop the gas tank back in and just lay the hood on there. I will not fasten it yet, and we'll address that tomorrow. I just sprayed some PB Blaster down the throttle cable, give it a little lubrication. I think we're looking pretty good here. Anyways, tomorrow when the sun's back out, we'll get back to finishing this up. Well, I was able to take a trip to Ace Hardware this morning, and they had the little clips that I need, the little speed clips for 89 cents a piece. They had 3 left. I bought all 3. I only need 2. So we're going to try to swap those out on the solenoid. So where these 2 bolts go into the solenoid here, these speed clips go over the solenoid for these bolts to bolt into. So let me see if I can swap them out and if they'll actually stay tight this time. I got my old clips off. You can see this one is pretty beat. It's all bent up. These things are pretty much junk, these clips. And I think that the spacing on the solenoid, this isn't the original one to the tractor, is a little bit too wide. So it wants to be like at an angle. When I crank these things down, they don't line up perfect. But anyways, it's worked for me for 10 years. I never had a problem until now. So it can't be too screwed up. Let me just see if we can tighten that. See? That's about as tight as I can get. I don't want to force it because I feel like they're just going to strip again. That's pretty good. All right, let's go with that. So I'll put the shift plate back on. And then I want to put a mower deck on this thing and mow the lawn. I'm sick of using a John Deere to mow the lawn. It's sacrilegious. Well, I got the mower deck on this tractor. I got everything back together. It's running good. We'll fire it up. Mowed half the lawn. It's working good. Well, we're dripping gas like crazy out of that Briggs, man. Got a trail everywhere that tractor drove, all over the driveway. So we're gonna have to rebuild that carb. That's the next step on this tractor. Let's take a look at this thing. It had been dripping gas out of the carburetor for like the last 2 years, I'm gonna say. And you can see down here on this upright that it's a little wet still. I don't think it's oil. I'm 99.9% sure it's gas. And you can see it's all wet looking over there. I don't see any signs of oil anywhere, to be honest with you. Oh, wait a minute. It's awful wet over here. Oh, shoot. Don't tell me it's the axle seal. That's definitely oil. Yep, look at the inside of the tire. All covered with oil, so I think we have a bad axle seal over here. Yep, look at this. This whole thing all back here is all oil. Look at that. Oh, I just touched my finger against the trailer hitch covered with oil. So we must have a bad axle seal. That really stinks, huh? Oh, yeah. Could never get ahead, you know? My buddy Dennis was just telling me he's got, oh, dude, this whole freaking bolt is loose. That's not good. I wonder if it's just loose. This bolt here that literally holds the axle on is loose. Like I can move it, I can unscrew it with my fingers here. Wonder if somehow that bolt loosened up and the thing is dripping oil because of that. That's stupid, huh? Anyways, I'm gonna get a wrench and try to tighten that and see if that fixes our problem or not. You can't win. Well, I don't know, let me see if I can tighten this bolt. Dude, that thing was so loose. That one's tight. This one's loose. Man, this thing is a mess. A mess, man. It's just soaking wet with oil. Soaking wet. I'm really hoping it's not the axle seal and it's just that those bolts loosened up. But I have a literal oil trail across the whole damn driveway. If it was gas, it would have been evaporated within a couple minutes. It wouldn't still be there. Let me see if I can check that bolt on the bottom front there. Well, the bolts on the bottom were so loose. The one on the front I didn't show. It was a half a turn loose before it even got tight at all. So it very well could be that those bolts just loosened up and oil started dripping out because they were loose. That's really crazy, you know? But I guess when this tractor's like 43 years old, probably no one's ever touched those bolts before. So I guess they could loosen up, you know? I should probably check the other side just to make sure they're not loose. And I don't know, maybe we'll drive it around tomorrow or something and see if it's still leaking oil. But Thing made a mess on the driveway. Here's the other side. There's not a drop of oil on it, and they're tight, so I don't have any issues with this side. It's just the other side. So weird.